Welcome back. Welcome back to Articulate with Steve McJones. How we doing this week, guys? I am great. I had a 2-week, little vacation there, back and better than ever. And this week got Kateryna Shevchuk on the podcast. Kateryna is from Ukraine, Odessa in Ukraine. She'll talk all about it. She is a woman who wears many, many hats, and very interesting to me. Great conversation. And one thing I did realize when I was going back and listening to it is that it definitely reflects the idea that I believe that, whatever happens, it may seem sometimes like it's bad in the moment, but it turns out for the best. So, there's multiple examples you hear, from something that her mother said to her, to, getting a specific job that she was maybe iffy about, and, it just kind of, in the end, working out for the best for her. And I very much enjoyed her message and, just hearing her thought process about all these things. And I'm excited for you to hear. So let's get into it. Kateryna, thanks for coming out, and I hope you all enjoy. Yeah, it's good stuff. But what's up? Kateryna, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Yeah. Kateryna, you can do stand-up comedy. You do fashion, nanotechnology. What can't you do?
I can cook and clean and some other things that I can do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try to spread my interests in different fields so I don't get bored with anything in particular.
Really?
Yeah.
That's actually a good way of thinking about it. I'm kind of relating to that right now in my life. I'm trying to explore a lot of different options. I just came from rock climbing, so that sucks, but...
yeah. Somebody beat you up.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, so, tell us a little bit, before we get too into all that stuff, kind of like your background a little bit. Where you're from, how you grew up, how you got where you are now, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Ukraine, in the city called Odessa. It's like Miami of Ukraine.
Odessa?
It's really fun in Odessa. It's like beaches and clubs and
What?
girls. It's like the great place to
That
just
explains a
come.
lot.
No, it's a really fun place to come visit, and very cheap. And
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
It's like great destination for single American men. I don't know.
All right, you got me sold. Let's do it.
Yeah. So I was born and raised there, and I sort of, when I was in school, applied for this exchange program. It wasn't really exchange. It was one-way exchange. So they would send Ukrainian kids to random places in America, will live in host families, attend schools.
Yeah, well, so quick question. Was that through were you in high school, or when was that?
I was in high school, and that was Department of State sponsored program.
We did that. My family actually had a French girl come and stay with us. Yeah, for a little bit.
Was it fun? Are you still friends with her?
I was 5, and she was in high school, and I was in love with her, and it's fine. We'll never talk again, but it's fine.
You just look her up on Instagram. One day.
Honestly, I remember her name was Alix, and that's about it. So
yeah, so my host family, they were in their 65, something like that. They were old, so their kids were all grown up. Okay. And they just, I guess, were kind of bored. I don't know who in their right mind would host a teenager. I was such a... Can you curse here? I was
Yes.
I was such a bitch when I was 16. I was so mean to them too.
Teenage women.
I grew up, I recognize my mistakes, but I would definitely be what do you mean you want me to clean host parents?
Oh.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It was not nice.
No, it's
it's hormones, puberty,
well,
everything.
yeah, you're out there trying to be on vacation, and trying to check out America, but...
No, they were definitely a little more older people. Oh, we're gonna shut off the internet if you don't make up your bed, and they did. So I was irritated with that. But that basically got placed in Circleville, Ohio. It was a middle of cornfields place.
I'm from Ohio, dude.
Really?
Yes.
Do you know? Are you familiar with Circleville, Ohio?
Not necessarily. I've probably been through it a couple of times.
They have a world-known pumpkin festival.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where it's they shut off the entire city for 4 days. Everybody comes and eats pumpkins. It was insane to me. Yeah. Nice. I was like, what is happening the entire time? But it was such a big celebration for like pumpkins.
Yeah, that's
People
awesome.
were like competing with the larger. It was like a whole thing.
No, I mean that's all we got out
times.
there is like we have Apple Fest. It's like the fall like festivities. That's really all we got going for us in Ohio.
That's one thing that like I love about, well, one of many things that I love about American culture. All those like festivals where you just like go eat food. And it's like games.
It's good stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was like the first time in America.
That was my first time in America. First time like really immersing myself in like English language environment, because I basically came in and like we studied English in school, but I guess it's like how people study Spanish here. Like you kind of know it. It's like hola, you know.
Yeah.
But like that's kind of was me. It's like hello.
Yeah. How long did it take for you to like pick that up?
So I think there was basically like no Russian people in Ohio. I don't know if that's typical, but at least in Circleville, Ohio, there were like no people that could speak the language with. And I think the program was also telling us, oh, you shouldn't like call your parents because like you want to get the language up to like a good level. So basically that's what I did. I think I started understanding people, just like one-on-one conversation fully after like 2 months.
Okay. And
then like 6 months is when I started understanding what people like saying at the lunch tables, you know, because it was just a mess.
Yeah.
But I think it was like pretty quickly.
My question for language is always like really interesting to me because I feel like language really shapes how people think. And so have you noticed any difference in, you know, being immersed in English since your Russian like background? Has it changed like your thoughts or ideas about anything at all? Or
I think now if I come back, I have like accent in Russian language, which is my first language, you know, so like I guess.
Yeah. Do you think in Russian still all the time?
It's like a mix.
Really?
So, yeah, sometimes
That's fun.
like some things that are just like easier to say.
With American.
Like in American. Like basically that's the same thing as if like I'm talking to Russian, Ukrainian people that I hear that moved here. It's like a mix. One sentence in English, one sentence in Russian.
That's fair. In Russia, do you ever speak about people behind their backs in English?
No. Because too many people know it. But like it was it's sometimes cute when I go home. I like, and one of my friends would call me and I'll be like walking down the street speaking English and people will be like turning their heads. It's, you know, they're like, oh, who's that foreign person?
Yeah.
Looking exactly like every other Ukrainian.
Yeah. That's fun though. So then that was like, that for you was like, all right, you're going to move over here. That was... I
really liked the United States. I kind of like was definitely vibing with mentality more than in Ukraine. In Ukraine, everybody's just a little more like mean. I don't know. But yeah, they're...
and then you moved to Philadelphia.
And then I moved to Philadelphia, where I was like, great.
Yeah,
this is home now.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love that joke that you have where you're like, oh, you guys have free healthcare too? With like the syringes on the ground.
Do you want me to tell the joke? It's like, it's rehearsed. I've been telling. That's probably one of the jokes that just like came to me, you know?
Those are the best ones.
I just like was sitting there and I wrote it down. I'm like, this is great. I told my friend, he was like cracking up. I'm like, all right, this is a good joke.
Yeah.
I was like, I moved here 6 years ago and I remember coming. It was like a different planet. The roads are nice, the streets are clean, people are smiling. And then I got to Philadelphia. Immediately felt like home.
Yeah.
I saw syringes on the ground and I was like, wow, they have free healthcare too.
Yeah, that's great. So I guess like you must have had to decide on like what you were going to do in America before you moved over, right?
Yeah, so after that exchange year, I came back and like they say, it's so interesting. They say that the reverse culture shock is like worse than like initial culture shock. So like coming back to your country is worse. And it was like that for me. I was like almost depressed, you know, for like a month or two because I was just like, I hate everything. This is not the same. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do everything to try to go to the United States. And I also knew that, small town like Circleville was alright, but I wanted to go to a bigger city now where there are like more foreign people.
You're from Odessa, you know what I mean? You can't be in Ohio.
I can't be in Ohio. No, I started applying to schools. I was applying to places that would give scholarships to international students, which limits it like to only very few places.
Yeah. But at this point, did you already know you wanted to do like nanotechnology?
I knew that with like nanotechnology, I actually was thinking more like just like in terms of engineering.
Okay.
That I have bigger chances of getting in and receiving a scholarship than if I did anything else.
Yeah. Nice.
So I always sort of liked arts, but I also knew that I'm good at math, good at science. I can like basically do all that. The thing about like Ukrainian schools is there is no like choice of subjects. Basically whatever government gives you to study, you study, and everybody does the same. So by the time you're graduating, you have no idea what you like actually like, what you're actually good at, because you've studied all of the subjects all of the time.
Yeah.
So it was tough. I literally was like, should I go to law school? Should I do journalism? Should I do like science? I was all over the place. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, but I think engineering is a safe bet for America to want me to come,
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I got a scholarship at Drexel, and then
Did you really like take to it? Like, I don't know, engineering. I know you say like you kind of just chose it because it was a good fit, but once you started taking the classes, where you're like, okay.
The thing with my scholarship that I was like very lucky that you could basically like switch majors. Mm-hmm. So I was like, it wasn't like major specific. It was kind of like just for the leadership and blah blah blah, and so I had a choice of switching to business, but I started taking chemical engineering courses. That's what I started doing when I first came, and I was like, all right, this is fun. Like everybody kind of struggles in the same way. It's not that bad.
Everybody's failing. It's fine.
Everybody's failing. It's okay.
Just like comedy.
Exactly. It's like, it made us closer. And I was like in the engineering community where we also lived together. It was great times.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, messed around in some frats, popped around over to... did you join any sororities or anything? Do anything fun in college?
Basically, when I first came, right, I was like, all right, engineering is cool, but I still want to pursue my art passion.
Quick question. I'm actually curious. Do they have fraternities and sororities over in Ukraine?
They don't, no.
Interesting. Wow.
That would be weird if they did.
Weird. Yeah, but anyways, I'm sorry. So you knew you still had the passion for art.
Yeah, I was like, let me try joining some theater stuff. And at that time, that was 7 years ago, I had terrible accent. You could barely probably understand what I was saying half of the time. So that's makes it a little hard to be an actress with that kind of thing. Yeah,
so was your initial, I know you said just art-based and creativity-based, but was it initially, acting that you wanted to get into?
Yeah. Okay. Definitely acting more than anything else. Before that, I've done, dancing for a while in Ukraine, but I've just,
Really?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. It's just something... At some point, I really wanted to be a dancer, but my mom was like, you're not going to be a dancer. I was like, all right, Mom.
Never let anybody tell you can't do anything.
In the retrospect, thank gosh, it did not let me be a dancer, because, that's such a tough area.
Absolutely.
It's so physical, and there are, not that many job opportunities. You, end up becoming, a coach or, dance instructor. So I'm happy. I'm like, thank you, Mom.
Sure, yeah.
But acting, I went in, I had some really amazing professors that, encouraged me, and they're like, oh, I remember I signed up for musical, basically would have theater classes that you can sign up for. I signed up for musical cabaret class. So basically where they give you a song, at the end of the term, you give a performance of that song.
Nice, yeah.
To get into that, you kind of had to audition. So, just to sing a little part, so they would, know your voice range, what song to assign you.
Yeah. And
I kid you not, my audition for that was, if you look up, bad X Factor auditions, where people just, it was exactly that. It was so embarrassing. Like, everybody was just like staring at me with like, you know, fear in their eyes, like, what is happening? And my professor's like, just breathe, like, while I'm singing, because everybody's like knowing that I'm freaking out. This is going so bad. And after that, but like, they couldn't kick me out because it was like class. It wasn't like a show or anything, right? So when they're giving us song assignments, they're like, Kateryna, you're so brave. Like, yep, that's me. And they're like, we're gonna give you a funny song because you're also so funny. I'm like, wow, all right. So they kind of saw my talents, that I'm brave and funny, right there. And
wow, that definitely plays into comedy, absolutely. But we'll get to that again.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
that was like kind of my initiation with the performing arts. But I had some really great instructors, not in singing, but just like in acting. Had really good voice teacher who, you know, helped me with the accent.
Nice.
She, like, at some point I was doing a bit where there will be like, we had a group probably of like 10 people in the class, and I was doing something, and the professor was like, all right, everybody listen to Kateryna, and in your script, they had like a printout of what I was saying. Mark every single thing that you don't understand that she is saying. And so they did that exercise, which was like everything on the page. And I fixed it.
Yeah.
But I think I'm much, much better in terms of my English
language.
I
can understand you, I think.
No, yeah. There's still some people that struggle, but it's like very few. It's like 1 in 100 people that I meet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so talking about sororities and fraternities, I did want to join. My first year, I was like, all right, I don't think I'm ready yet. I'm gonna like wait a little bit, but it did look fun. So Drexel is a 5-year program. I was doing 5-year program. So I was like, okay, let me go to a rush, I guess, whatever, to like join sorority in my 3rd year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know if it was me or if it was, you know, that I was pretty late in my college career. Basically, they didn't take me.
Oh, no.
Which was very sad.
That's so sad.
But that's like literally the reason why I went and auditioned for the improv team. Because I was kind of upset. I was like, well, now I don't have that to do that I want, like, to fill out my schedule. Let me go do something else. And that's the only reason why I was just like, okay, let me go do improv. And
fuck that sorority, dog.
And like, honestly, that's probably the best decision in retrospect. Because if I didn't get into improv, it's very unlikely that I would get into stand-up. And that's just such a big part of my life now that I can't. Absolutely. I would have just been like boring sorority girl.
Yeah.
Not the sorority girl so boring, but I would be boring.
You'd be a Russian boring sorority girl.
Russian boring.
I was kidding. But yeah, no, that's awesome. So then, you know, improv, how is that, by the way?
It's fun. So we have a team, we call ourselves a team at Drexel, so it's like college improv. But I mean, like, I've been to those college improv festivals, and I know, like, the stereotypical college improv that people do, and I don't think we do that.
Oh, really?
It seems like because it's audition-based, and then we really pick somebody who we vibe with, humor-wise.
Okay.
For some reason, it was just, like, always really smart, really funny people joining.
Nice.
So it's been continuing like that. I think everybody who I've met who's on the team is just like an excellent comedian who can easily go and do stand-up and be like really funny. Yeah. Wow. So
that's pretty confident that you're saying that there, because I know as stand-up comedians we'd be like, improv people, come on. You know what I mean?
But like, I know the stereotype, you know? And I don't think we fit in that stereotype. Like people that I interact with on the group. Yeah, so it's like I really enjoy it. I really do think it like brings my comedy and my creative thinking
no, definitely.
to another level.
I mean, that's why I kind of wanted to do it when like in college, but our college was pretty stereotypic improv class, but I always wanted to do it because I feel like it would just make you think quicker, like on your feet. And so like when you're up on stage doing stand-up, you'd be able to riff a little bit easier or feel more, just even more comfortable up on stage, you know?
Yeah, I don't know, because for me, like, it doesn't really help, right? When I'm, like, playing a witch in improv, that does not translate to me riffing on stage,
That's
you know?
fair.
Because I'm, like, in character, I have other people on stage, like, playing along, so I guess it should help, but it didn't really help me so far. Those are just, like, for me, they're a little too different.
Interesting. Yeah, well, that's curious. And so, like, I guess you started with improv, and then was school, like, still an overarching thing for you as well with the engineering? Because I feel like that's a very demanding major.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I had, like, more energy than normal to do everything.
That's awesome.
I was like, my days were completely filled up. I still did well in school. Yeah, it was just, I somehow like balanced it.
Yeah.
Even when I was like in serious, well, like production plays that Drexel did, where people like buy tickets, we would like spend so much money on the sets.
Right.
There would be like all the professionals invited to like do costumes and whatever. Those would be like 4 to 5 hours a day rehearsals.
Man.
And yeah, that was a tough time when I didn't have really much time to eat, but I was just like so excited in everything that I was doing that I'm like, all right, let's get it, you know?
Yeah.
No, it was really fun. And I managed to still get good grades,
Okay.
because otherwise they wouldn't have accepted me
Yeah.
in the graduate school,
Right.
which was what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So-
Well, real quick before we get into that, fashion. Where does this tie into the whole thing? Is this like a newer thing? You've always just been like killing it with the outfits and the drip, or how's that work?
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's just me all the time.
Yeah.
No, I think in Ukraine people are generally a little more
Especially
like,
Odessa.
I guess especially Odessa. Yeah, people like just incorporate fashion in their like everyday lives, because everybody like you can not really like go outside like wearing sports clothes because people judge you. I guess that's what I'm trying.
Excuse me, Kateryna.
I judge you right now.
I know.
Like,
I understand.
what are you wearing? Awful.
All right, fine. But no, like.
So in Ukraine, people judge you, and if you don't wear things that are fashionable, it's kind of a bad look. Maybe it changes, maybe not like everybody, but definitely much more than in America.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Yeah, because like when I was growing up, like in high school, I was just like, I'm just gonna I was almost against the idea of expressing like myself through clothes, because I was like, basically it was like, you know, that seemed a little materialistic to me, but also I just got hand-me-downs, and I just wanted to like make an excuse for being able to wear those all the time. But now that like, at least for me, like now that I'm in Philadelphia, it's not like felt pressured, but recently I've just been like upgrading my wardrobe, and I mean, I can't tell it right now, but you know, out at open mics, hopefully, you know, I've been wearing like, you know, I got some jewelry and got some cooler thrifty clothes or whatever. And
sure.
I think it really has become like it's an expression, you know what I mean? It really is something. It's not about me caring if other people are judging me, but it's just a way for me to kind of express myself along with like what my creative ideal are.
Yeah. No, for me it was different because like throughout growing up, it was always like, oh, we need to look nice if we're going to somebody's birthday, somebody's celebration, school, whatever. It was always like the pressure of people judging you, so that I just like absorbed. And I think it took me a while to find my own fashion style, but
when would you say that happened?
I would say I like really started getting into like probably 2 years ago.
Oh wow,
3
okay.
years
So
ago.
it's pretty
So
recent.
it's pretty recent. I mean, like I always dressed up nice.
Right.
I mean, it's just my upbringing. I cannot do like athleisure.
Sure.
Like I feel almost, I don't know, underdressed.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I get that.
I mean, like I think that's really great for people who are like don't feel that and don't have like that mind constraints that are just completely stupid.
It's just how you're raised.
But that's just how I grew up.
Sure.
Yeah, but like so probably 3 years ago, I mostly like just started following people on Instagram who are like
that's how it starts.
into fashion, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's such a like, integral part of my almost like character,
Sure.
now that
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
dress well, that I almost feel like I cannot all of a sudden start wearing like leggings and sweatshirt every day. People will be like, what happened? Is she okay?
Well, it's not only that, but it's like you said, you don't want to. Why would you want to? You just feel
it's
like
very comfortable though.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. But well, if you wanted to wear sweatpants, I wouldn't judge you, Kateryna. That's all.
I don't believe that. Maybe for a little bit you will, and then be like, whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, so then I guess when did stand-up, when did that actually become an interest for you?
So I sort of was like, I really like doing comedy and being on stage and doing acting and being on stage.
Yeah.
So, and as an international student on a visa, you get like some constraints. For example, you cannot work like officially and legally. So if I go to a casting company, they cannot cast me.
Wow.
So yeah, because it's kind of like different kind of visa,
Yeah.
As a student, you can't work. That's part of it. Or they will deport you. So it's pretty serious punishment for that.
That's crazy.
So I was like, all right, I can't really do acting. Same thing with like agencies, management. I can't really sign any contracts because they'll relate to like time. So like, let me go to the place where no one has an agent or manager.
Yeah.
Which is Philadelphia stand-up scene. There is no one there. No. Yeah. Maybe there's some people, but I've yet to meet somebody with an agent. But yeah, so I was like, let me try that. It seems like it's more chill. It seems like if you do get paid, it's just like, here's $50 up to the show. Nothing serious. And maybe by the time I will have like a different type of visa or like green card or whatever, I'll get good at it.
Yeah.
And we'll see how
maybe
it
get
goes.
some agents and stuff. And then I guess when you graduated engineering 5-year school, so this is all like, these are all, it sounds like everything kind of coincided, happened at once. You're figuring everything out within the span of like, your latter 2 years of your program and then moving into this new program. So what was that like?
Well, it kind of like transitioned very smoothly because I basically worked during my undergrad for a very successful, very nice, very cool professor.
Oh, cool.
Who's like globally known. He's doing like developing new materials that everybody's like super excited about. He has like this new beautiful laboratory. Usually like if you go in laboratory, in Ivy Leagues, they're just like so gross. They're like so small. The light is like that like yellow.
The dim
it's
yellow.
Like it's like all dirty.
You hear the light like.
Yeah. It's so bad. And then his laboratory is like open space, huge windows, everything white. I'm like, and he asked me, he's like, do you want to just go into PhD with us? Because I've been doing, work for him and everybody liked me and everything. So I was like, yeah, why not? So I made the decision in February, and in March, COVID happened and all jobs stopped hiring. So if I didn't make that decision, I'll be probably in Ukraine now. Very likely.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was a good choice, and that's what I'm doing now. It's my second year of.
And what specifically are you focusing on?
So his laboratory, I was doing my chemical engineering degree. His laboratory was in material science and nanomaterials.
Okay.
I tried to go material science as a degree, but it was so boring. It was like metals, ceramics, it was not fun at all. And I'm like, I would stick with chemical engineering and do like nanomaterials.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I did. And yeah, it's good. It's more like you're on employee status than a student. You still take like a few classes, but it's literally like one class a term.
Nice.
It's not a lot of pressure at all. And you're just mostly work. You go
like
to
9 to 5
laboratory.
or something in the lab?
It's pretty nice that they have free schedule. It's kind of
really?
but everybody works so hard. Everybody kind of comes like on the weekends. It's that kind of free schedule where it's like, oh no, come in whenever, and everybody's like 8 to 8.
Yeah. Oh, jeez, that's rough.
People basically live in the lab. It's intense.
Yeah, but you enjoy it though.
I enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a different kind of like thinking, because you're basically doing something that no one in the world has done before, which is pretty exciting to think about. And then also you're becoming probably the like world's expert in that specific topic, which is also exciting to think about. But that also requires a lot of work. Like, you know, like you have to read a lot, you have to do a lot of things. I think I'm just like getting really into like the groove of like working hard.
Well, that's good.
Because my first year I was like in denial mode. I'm like, I don't want to go. And now I'm like, okay, I think to achieve great things, I have to
put in that work. Well, and I mean, like what you were saying, I mean, when you were doing like the performances 4 or 5 hours a day and on top of school and everything, you had the most energy you had, right?
That's true.
And like, you know, the prospect of becoming, you know, somebody, one of the leading experts in, even if it's just metal or whatever, that is really exciting. That is energizing and motivating, you know? So, I mean, a lot of respect for that, for sure. But also, do you find any connections between like that and your creative arts at all?
Maybe only that I have to like write a lot for both of the fields. It's just a lot of writing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm like, did I apply for like journalism or something? That's happening. So.
Well, it's just like kind of like interesting to me to be able to live such completely different lives, and it's still.
I was like, I think I felt it more explicitly when I had those like long rehearsals and then school, that I would get really tired of one of those things. And the other one would be like almost an outlet for me. I'm like, like I'm doing engineering, thank God I don't have to like rehearse my lines and like cry on stage and everything. And then I'm like doing that on stage and I'm like, oh, thank God I don't have to like do math, you know? So like I was kind of like resting from one side while doing the other side. And then I feel like that's how I feel with stand-up and school now too.
Yeah, because that's kind of something, again, so this is very first thing we're talking about, how like I kind of like burnt myself out a little bit on stand-up. I was doing it so much. And the thing about stand-up is like, when you're not doing it and you have time to think, all you're thinking of is like, I'm not writing right now. Or like you feel a little guilty because you're not trying to think of something funny all the time. So especially like so I heard one time on a podcast or something, basically it's nice to have a few projects going at once, because that way if you're like at work, you have a shitty day, then you go do performance or like rock climbing and you do have a really good, you know, workout, or you do really well. That gives you a little bit of confidence even though you had a crappy day doing the other thing, you know? So, you know, switching those things up and not getting bored with one is, I think, very important. And it's just taking me so long to figure that out, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly. No, that's exactly how I feel. I also, like, for some reason, I remember there was this one, like, famous person from Ukraine, and she just gave birth, and she was like still doing all her like million of projects, and people are like, how do you do that? She's like, I feel like it's giving me even more energy that I now have an additional thing, a child to take care of, and I know that I can like relax. I have to like do everything, and for some reason that gives me even more energy to be doing everything that I've already been doing. And I kind of feel that. I'm not ready for a baby.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. That seems like a lot.
I'm just like, let me get a child so I work harder.
No, I mean, not to get too deep into it, but I had a guy on a couple, like last year, and he had a kid, and we were just talking about like internal versus external motivation. And for me, it's like, it's hard for me to get motivated a lot of time to do things. And
so you should get a child too.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. He's like, for me, like, you know, the kid is the reason. Like, he's like, I want to be a good influence on the kid. I want to show him that I'm working hard and that I'm creating a better life for myself, so that way he does the same thing. So, yeah, maybe I'll adopt. Who knows?
Get a dog or something. Be a good influence for your dog.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess right now, how are you feeling with everything? Like, where are you feeling with your stand-up, with your job, or your work, your, what was the other, your fashion? You know, how do you feel about everything right now?
Well, fashion for me is when I just like want to turn off my brain. I would go and like literally scroll some like stores online. So this is not
nothing. There's a little bit of like artistic, like you have to match, you have to find things that are fit your style specifically, you know?
don't know. I feel like it's on such an automatic level for me now
Really?
that I almost like don't even consider it something. Like when you said like, oh, and fashion, I'm like, I guess I do it. Like I care about clothes and I like it, and I know like I can distinguish this brand from that brand, but it's not like anything I like deeply care about. You know?
That's interesting.
But, yeah, it's sort of like just a part of me that's like there, you know, But for me, I feel like recently, that's when I started getting, as I said, like with school, like really in the groove of like working hard. And I feel like I kind of got the same mindset about stand-up.
Really?
Because before that, I would be like, I don't want to go to the mic this week. I want to write. And now I'm like, all right, writing is writing, but I have to go, like every day I'm available to go. Sure. So I almost started treating it as a job. Like there's no choice. And I think it's been rewarding so far for probably like 2 months that I've been doing that. People start recognizing you more.
Yeah, definitely. And
talking to you more.
And I think there's something to be said for like if you're doing well in your job or something, or your main thing in that getting in that groove, there it is going to bleed into how you feel about what you're doing in stand up as well, or any creative arts. It's just because you have like already a background. It's like, all right, I feel good about this. Like I did something good today, and now I can get into this and get into that same groove or try to channel it in a certain way.
Yeah, and I don't feel burnt out, and I also don't get upset when I don't do well, because like I started almost treating it as like work in progress. So sort of when if somebody doesn't laugh at my joke, it's not that I like if I'm a failure and it's terrible. It's that I need to change that joke. And now it's like, all right, how do I change that joke so people will and it kind of like brings the excitement, because it's not about what's there. It's like, how can I change it to make it the best? And I don't know, it started being like fun. It's like a puzzle piece that I have to make work.
That's awesome. Yeah, okay.
I feel good about like currently in this day and this month, I feel very good about everything that I'm doing. Yeah, in this day and this month. Tomorrow, we don't know. Tomorrow we'll see how it goes.
Well, cool. I think that's a good, solid place. People find you shows, Instagram. What do you shout yourself out? Plug yourself. Let's do it.
All right. My Instagram is Kateryna Shev.
Okay.
And I hopefully we'll have more shows coming up. It's in the works. I'm scheduling, working on schedule now.
Nice.
Yeah, I just had a show yesterday in Philadelphia. That went real well. It was fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I think Instagram is my
I mean you'll be posting your shows and everything on there as well. Yeah. Come out to the open mics too if you want to see Kateryna.
Open mics.
Right,
I'm there.
2th Street. Do you go to South House still?
That's the night when I have improv, so unfortunately. But I also been feeling that I've been still doing improv because technically it's like we can do undergraduate and graduate student. It's in both type of organizations. So I went to grad school at Drexel. I can still be on the team, so I've still been doing that. But I'm also like kind of thinking that I'm ready to graduate and just move on to stand up full time. You know? It's kind of like
slow down a little bit.
It's almost like about commitment too. I don't know.
No, I can see that for sure, because you're dabbling in so many things. It's like I said, it might be distracting for you to do improv when you're trying to think about stand up. Or the other way.
That's actually like very interesting, right? Because how do you balance between like having just like few things that you do so you don't get burnt out and having too many things that you do and not like focusing or like growing in anything particular?
I think the key word is balance, you know what I mean? So if you feel pressured in one way, then try to alleviate that through another way. Or like for me, it's like I felt like I was trying to stretch myself too many ways, so I did kind of take a step back from, unfortunately, stand up. But I'm growing in one, like with rock climbing. It's still kind of a new thing for me, so it's like I'm growing in that aspect. So it's not like I'm taking a step back and just sitting around drinking and smoking or whatever, right?
Where do you even rock climb in Philadelphia?
There's this place called the Cliffs. It's awesome. Cliffs at Callow Hill. It's amazing. It's like just bouldering and you just throw yourself against the wall. It's awesome. Check this out.
This looks painful.
Yeah. But it's like honestly, I found like a a correlation between, it's weird, like when you're up on a wall and it's literally a project, they call them projects, and you go up on it and there's always one, they call it the, I think it's called the crutch or the crux maybe. And it's like,
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, but it's like the hardest part of the whole project. And in that moment, I feel the same sort of adrenaline that I feel when I'm trying to do something on stage, you know what I mean? And it's the same sort of like, I need to figure this out in a way that works so I complete this task or make people laugh, you know? So it is really interesting.
If you don't, it's way more painful than like bombing on the stage.
Exactly. Well, I don't know. Emotionally, debatable.
No, you asked me the things that I can't do, and I said I can't cook and clean. I could do that. It's just not that I particularly enjoy, but I can do those two things. What I cannot do is like, I'm not an athletic person like that. I can't do like any like sports that is sports, you know? I can go to the gym, I guess, but I cannot do like rock climbing. I can't do. Like, I mean, volleyball can't do, basketball can't do.
Really? So you're not coordinated, but maybe you're athletic.
I think that's it. Yeah, okay. That's a good way to put it.
But don't discount yourself. Try it out. You know? But yeah, I think that's probably a good place to cut her off here. Any last words for the audience or anything?
Last words. It sounds so sad. Last words for the audience. Yeah. No, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been super fun. I was glad I could talk all about my life.
It's interesting. I'm glad you came to.
If current events aside, if you ever get a chance to come to Odessa and visit, I think it'll be a great place. You can ask me any questions that you have about how it's there, and yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a great time.
Hell yeah. I'm excited. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Kateryna, I am definitely going to take you up on that vacation to Odessa because that place sounds amazing. Like Miami, dude. I 100% will, and I'm going to get a roster of everybody who listens to this, and we're all going to visit you at the same time, and it's going to be amazing and insane. But thanks so much for coming out here, talking us through your life, through your thoughts, and articulating who you are. So I appreciate that as always. Thanks everybody for listening. Check her out on Instagram. Check me out on Instagram if you want. Steve McJoes. And listen to the podcast. Spread it. Share it. Ask me to come on. If you want to come on, I'll put you on. Probably, unless you're the worst. If you're the worst, sorry. But anyways, thanks for listening. I love you. Amen. Okay. Bye. Welcome back to Articulate with Steve McJones. Welcome back this week. Welcome back. Welcome to Articulate with Steve McJones.